Morning, you guys. Alright, today is Monday, new week here, October 6th, I think it is, yeah. Alright, we are westbound on 10, and we're going to be getting on to 15 south here in a second. We're going to be going to a customer that is new to me. They're called U.S. Merchant Company or something like that. They're on the southwest side of Ontario. Alright, so yeah, it's an electronics load. So that's what we'll be doing this morning. It's a brand new facility, or at least a pretty new facility. I don't know exactly how old it is, but it's new. Because what I did when I was trying to scout it in advance, the satellite view doesn't even show how the property is laid out. It just shows a large dirt area that looked like it was in the early stages of development. So I have no idea really how things really go there. I don't know if I'm going to have to park on the street and check in, or if I just go straight in, or what. But there are only 2 Google reviews on the place, the oldest of which is about 6 months old. So we know the place is at least 6 months old, but not old enough where the satellite imagery shows the actual facility there. So we're gonna surprise ourselves, I guess, or well, not gonna be able to have the usual info to work with that I would normally have at most customers. Where I can at least have a pretty good idea of where the driveway, where the truck entrance is, or anything along that line, truck parking, or like I said, check in. I just come directly into the lot, or park on the street and bring bills in, or by foot, or what. So I might have to drive around and see how things go. All right. We're gonna be getting on the 60 westbound here in a minute. I don't know what exit it's gonna. I didn't really pay that much attention to what exit it was by. I would imagine Grove or somewhere nearby there. Let me see what. Yeah, it's showing almost the Euclid Avenue on the onboard system, but I know better than to trust what the onboard is.
Yeah. Okay. So you laid
what the onboard tells me, because location pins on the onboard system are, it's not uncommon at all for them to be inaccurate. Okay, Bonneview Avenue. Okay, yeah, actually it does look like it's right off, pretty close to Euclid. So yeah, we're gonna probably, that might be, yeah, it might be accurate. It does look like in the same general ballpark of where I'm expecting to end up. So we'll see. Alright. Well, that said, I had a conversation with a good friend of mine over the, I guess I would say over the weekend, about an incident that happened in Louisiana. I guess it started in Louisiana and ended up in Texas, and generally in the Houston area. It involves Louisiana State University star wide receiver Kyren Lacy. I hope I pronounced his first name correctly. If you guys aren't familiar with them, basically, this was in I would call it a suburb of New Orleans, out in the kind of the bayou area, whatever, to the southwest of New Orleans. There was a crash there that actually took the life of the passenger of a Kia Sorento, and what happened there is basically, the Charger, it was a green Dodge Charger being driven by Kyren Lacy. It was heading southbound on State Highway 20 over there. And a northbound pickup driver. Okay, Kyren, I guess, was passing some traffic illegally. Yeah, had like 4 cars that he passed in a no passing zone. So I imagine he had built up some speed to get around them, but how much exactly he factors into what happens from there. Now, was he a significant contributor or what? This is where things come into more question, I would say. Okay, so there's actually video out there. I'll see if I can show it to you guys here. Basically, it's a surveillance camera. It just shows, I mean, you can't even see the actual vehicle that collided with the Sorento. My understanding is it's another Kia, but it's a sedan. And, all right, so what happened was the Sorento was heading southbound, basically ahead of Kyren. And, all right, well, because of Kyren, there was a pickup driver who was already not going that fast. I think he said he was doing like 28 miles an hour or something like that. And supposedly the data confirms that that driver was doing about that. The driver actually said he wasn't even, he didn't even leave any skid marks. He didn't brake that hard. He saw Kyren coming basically, and he hit his brakes to, because he wasn't sure what Kyren was going to do, it sounded like. And he was already at a complete stop. But the Kia behind him, I guess, was following too closely, not paying attention, or whatever. Man, maybe too fast for conditions. I don't know. Whatever factors were there, but that driver swerved to the left into the oncoming lane to avoid running into the pickup driver. And yeah, we are going to get off at Grove, by the way. And in the process, they collided head-on with the Kia Sorento. And everybody in both vehicles was properly restrained, from my understanding. However, the passenger in the Sorento went to the hospital, and then what they thought was just moderate injuries or something, but he ended up later dying. I don't know how or why or whatever, but his death was allegedly linked to the crash itself, we'll just say. So here's the problem. Now, okay, they basically said they put out an arrest warrant for Kyren for negligent homicide, hit and run basically, and reckless driving. Now, I don't know what the Louisiana state definition of negligent homicide is, or what the basis of why they charged them for that was. Depending on what their reasoning for it is, based on what I saw, I might be able to see an argument for it, might not. Just it really depends, though. But generally, even if you are not actually directly involved in a crash, if there's a fatal crash, normally whatever starts the chain of events that leads to the fatality is usually going to be what's considered the significant contributor to the crash. I would say normally, though. But the only problem here is, if Kyren was well short of the pickup driver's position, and the pickup driver reacted very appropriately to the situation, and by the time Kyren's car showed up into the frame of view, he was already at a very reasonable speed and slowing, and he moved over to the left lane to slowly go around the crash scene. Now, he did not stop to check on the people involved. He did not, my understanding, did not call 911 to let them know or whatever. So those were his two big mistakes. So for that reason, depending on what calls were made and when and all that, I can kind of see, I might be able to see an argument for charging him with negligent homicide. Because, like I said, if he failed to render aid when he was a witness to the crash, or he failed to attempt to render aid, or, even just call 911, let the cops know, hey, we got this issue here. Yeah, absolutely, you should be held accountable. You're a scumbag if you witness something like that and you just drive past acting like, not my problem, I don't care. Well, it will become your problem if people find out that something significant like that happened and you knew about it and you failed to act on it. Actually, in most states, you actually can be charged for that. So, you got to be real careful with that. All right, I don't think this guy. I'm just following this guy at a proper distance. I think I was kind of concerned about this guy here. Now we're gonna get off here in a quarter mile. Hit and run, I'm real iffy on. He wasn't directly involved in the crash, but he was indirectly involved. Well, he was a factor in it. So, can he really? Can a hit and run charge stick on that? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, obviously, and I don't know how cases. I don't know about case law situations where there would be any precedence on that. Someone with legal background would definitely know a lot more about that. So I'll just say I'll admit I'm not an expert on it. I'm just gonna say I don't know, and I'm not gonna make an opinion on that because I could possibly see an argument either way, but I say without knowing the actual statute or case law situations, I can't really say anything. And then reckless driving. Now the video I saw, you can't see anything of the sort from him, but apparently there's video somewhere out there that actually does show him passing 4 cars illegally, and and even his lawyer was admitting that he was definitely passing traffic illegally in a no passing zone. He's not denying that. So to me, it sounds like there's a little more clear-cut case of why he's being charged with reckless driving. Or was charged with reckless driving. I say was, because as it turns out, I think it was in April of this year. Okay, the incident happened in December, if I remember right, of 2024. And in April of this year, I guess they figured out who the Charger driver was and built some kind of a case where we have something we can arrest him with. And I guess they ended up finding Kyren in somewhere in the Houston area. I don't know if there was a pursuit that ensued, but I was under the impression that maybe there was. And while they were in Spring, Texas, which is about 20-30 miles north of Houston on I-45, I think there's a Flying J truck stop up there, if I remember right. I can't remember for sure, but I've been to Spring a number of times myself. But while they were there, I guess Kyren ended up deciding to end his life and shot and killed himself while right after he got chased down by the police. Pretty sad situation there, but you don't want to take accountability for your stupid driving. But now, like I said, he might have had a legit case of a defense against the negligent homicide. I don't know. If other people called 911 right away, it wasn't going to make any difference on how quickly. And the other thing here is if somebody overreacts, it's one thing to cause somebody to react. We're going to turn left here in a second on the Bonneview Avenue. That is correct. That is exactly the street I was wanting to, I knew I was expecting. Yeah, so we're going to turn right where that dump truck's at. Okay, so if you, we have the other issue here. If you legitimately cause somebody to react to you, and if they react reasonably to what what you cause, and it leads to someone's death, that's to me a cut and dried case of you're the significant contributor to the incident, and you should be charged for vehicular homicide or vehicular manslaughter. However, if in this case, I don't know, it kind of gave the impression that maybe the other driver, the driver who actually collided with the Sorrento, might have overreacted to the situation. Okay, I think we're going to turn here onto the street that this car's turning. What do we got here? That's... What the hell? I'm not drunk. That's a residential street. I'm not turning down that street. No, that's ridiculous. Alright, I might have to park on the street there over by where another truck was at then. I gotta figure out a way to get turned around though. Okay, looks like I can... Yeah, I can turn left at this street and follow it back down to... Should be able to follow it back down to Grove. Alright, anyway, that's the key thing though, is did people react reasonably or unreasonably? Because, that's usually what always is going to be the situation there, is if a reasonable driver would have done this and the drivers involved did do that, then yeah, it's a cut and dried case. But if it's determined that most reasonable drivers would do this, but the driver who directly was involved actually did something else, and you got more of a Cucamonga Avenue, right? Then you got more of a gray area on who's really the significant contributor to the crash. The guy who actually started the chain of events, or the one who reacted unreasonably. I mean, it's like if you just panic and swerve out of the lane when there's like several hundred feet to go. Even when the crash had already happened, they said he was a good almost 300 yards. 300 yards, like 900 feet. That's better part of at least a good third of a mile. No, not quite a quarter of a mile. If they swerving that early, it tells me that they weren't paying attention to the traffic in front of them. The traffic in front of them could have been slowing for a freaking deer or, an animal or something, or an object in the road for all that matters. And, I was thinking about this also while I was driving my car this weekend. Is, because I regularly see everybody following at too close an interval. And the easy way to know if you're following at an appropriate distance is, one, can the traffic in the adjacent lanes merge into the space in front of you? If not, you're definitely too close. Two, if the traffic in front of you, let's just say, runs over a tire shard or some other object in the road, like a dead deer, yeah, I've done it. Or I had some other debris in the middle of the lane. And if you can't avoid it, because you're too, then that's a good sign that you're too close to whoever the person is in front of you. Back it off. That's a huge clue. Alright, so, alright, I don't want to make the video too long here. We're almost back at the customer. You guys know you already know where exactly the customer is at. It looks like it's kind of a narrow lane though, so it looks like the kind of place I think I'd rather back into from the street. Otherwise, you might be in a blindside situation or something if it's the same exact building I'm thinking of, or yeah, where all those cones were at blocking the driveway. I'll try to get parked over in that area, and now we'll continue some more here when it's time to dock in. Alright guys, I checked in. There's basically a guy in the, what was it, a Tesla or whatever car it was, right in the middle of the driveway. The driveway is actually behind us. We're not going to this driveway here. It's the same building, but there's nobody behind us, so I'm just going to go ahead and back up carefully. Ah, shit. Trailer is starting to get out into the lane, and I don't want it to. I don't have enough room to get my steer tires away from the curb though to chase it really. Okay, I checked in. Yeah, he basically just moved his car off to the side, and yeah, that driveway right there behind us, we're gonna pull into there, and they open at 6 o'clock, so from what I can tell, there's lots of room to dock in though. It's probably going to be a straight back setup once we do dock in. Alright, got a car getting ready to pass by. Come on, dude. It's one of the workers here, too. Alright, now we're good. Alright, that is not the same car. Actually, it was the darker colored car. Alright, so I probably edited that out so we can be, you know, we don't make the video excessively long. I had a conversation with the security guy, basically. So the BOL actually says go to a different location, actually, that he says is off of Francis, over by Archibald, you know, like a few miles east of here. But my info here says go to 1932 South Bonneview Avenue, which is right here. So, pretty sure we're in the right place. He did say wait till about 6:10 or so, and talk to either Alma or Stefan and check in with them. There's a pretty good chance they'll be delivering it here, especially because my thing here says to come here. It's just the consignee on the BOL actually is the location on Pro Forma Avenue, which is over by Francis and Archibald. More straight to directly to the south of Ontario Airport. All right, so let's see what we can do here. As you see here, there's tons of room. It's going to be an easy straight back setup for whatever doctor we end up getting. All right, we'll show you that in a bit. All right, guys, we are checked in. Basically, you come into any of these not an entrance doors, and actually right here by about door 12 or 13, somewhere around there. There are a couple of ladies working at a desk there. Check in with them. I was specifically told to check in to look for Alma or Stefan by the security guy. Alma was pretty younger Hispanic lady. She should be right over here at that desk. Just checked in, and then I just told me to go ahead and break my seal and dock in to door 20. Okay, so it seems that everybody here is bilingual, Spanish and English, or well, not everybody's bilingual. Everybody speaks Spanish. The important people speak English too. So there's that. If you're more comfortable with Spanish, well, you shouldn't be here in California and not know a lick of Spanish anyway. Just trolling. Just trying to see what kind of reactions I can get out of you guys with that one. Okay, now I'm not going to have enough room to chase it down, so I mean the trailer was there, but it was off at a bad angle, and I wasn't going to be able to get the drive tires over enough to square up right. There's only about 9 pallets, so we're probably not going to be here for very long. And they just opened the door to the dock door, so they're probably they're basically already waiting for me. Alright, there we go. Alright, I see a wheel chock. I'll go ahead and get it put in place. 6:24 right now. We'll see how long this takes. Only, I think it only said like 9 pallets on the BOL, so it's probably not going to take very long. Alright guys, we are already done here. It's barely 6:47 right now, and actually I got the bills around 6:40ish, and I checked in around what, 6:15, almost 6:20. So it barely even took about 20 minutes total to get unloaded and sign bills. Nice, very fast and easy. The ladies in there are friendly, so no complaints at all. I hope to see this place plenty more times. It's definitely great service here, so A+ for me. Okay, I'm going to end up taking this trailer to the Walmart DC in Colton and drop it. Probably end up running more empties from a drop yard over to Colton before my day ends, and I'll see what happens. I don't have a pre-plan for tomorrow yet. I'm sure I will get one at some point in time this morning. So I don't know what's going on aside from probably just shuttling trailers between the yard and Colton, or I don't know, maybe even carrier or Thermo King like we might typically do, or refuel loaded trailers that are running low on fuel or something. We'll figure it out, but that's what's probably in store for the rest of my day. Otherwise, I'm out of here. You guys, hope you guys enjoyed. All right, well, I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good day.